There comes a moment, late at night, maybe after scrolling too long, maybe while holding your phone hoping for a message that doesn't come, when you realize it's time to stop begging for closure. Time to stop clinging to memories like they're still happening. Time to stop pretending that your worth is tied to someone who didn't know how to value you. Today is that moment. This isn't just about moving on from someone. It's about moving on from who you had to become to survive them. It's about reclaiming the version of yourself you lost in the process of trying to make something work that was already broken. And we're going to do that with two key shifts, not hacks, not distractions, deep inner shifts that bring actual transformation. Let's start with the first one. Heartbreak has this way of shrinking our world. You wake up thinking about them. You go to sleep thinking about them. Songs feel different. Places feel empty. Even happiness feels like a betrayal. Like you're not supposed to move on yet. You're not broken, you're human, but here's what's also true. You cannot build a future while holding on to a ghost. Your past, no matter how real, how intense, how full of memories, is a chapter, not your life story. Yet most people get stuck because they confuse a moment in time with their identity. They say, I was happiest when I was with them. No one else will love me like that. Maybe it was my fault. But here's the truth. You were not meant to be defined by what broke you. You were meant to be refined by it. Let's break it down. Detach from the fantasy. Half the time we don't miss the person. We miss the idea. The fantasy of who they could have been, the future we imagined with them, the version of ourselves we became when we were in love. But that version, it was created in your head. You didn't fall in love with reality. You fell in love with potential, and potential is dangerous, because you can spend years trying to grow something that was never rooted to begin with. Own your story. Think of your life like a book. Are you going to stay stuck on chapter 7, where things got hard? Or are you brave enough to turn the page, not knowing exactly what's next, but believing it has to be better? You are not weak for caring, but you are stronger when you decide, I deserve more than memories. Even if you're still healing, you can move forward. You don't need to be over it to outgrow it. So, how do you actually move on? Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't heal from someone while still looking for their validation. Every time you check if they watched your story, every time you read old texts, every time you ask, do you think they ever miss me? You hand them the power again. Healing doesn't start with forgetting them. It starts with remembering who you are. Let's break that down into 4 real, actionable shifts. Cut off your hope supply. It's not the love that keeps you stuck, it's the hope. The hope that they'll come back, that they'll change, that they'll finally see your worth. But as long as you feed that hope, you're starving your healing. Cut contact, mute the socials, delete the pictures. It's not petty, it's survival. Your peace matters more than their opinion, or it's your identity after a breakup. It's common to feel like, who am I without them? Because somewhere along the line you merged. You became the person who adjusted, who bent, who compromised for the sake of keeping the connection. But here's the secret. You don't need to find yourself. You need to remember who you were before you forgot. Go back to the hobbies you stopped, the goals you shelved, the friendships you drifted from. Rebuild you. Upgrade your standards. The pain of heartbreak should cost you something. Not just in sadness, but in standards. You're not just healing to feel better. You're healing to choose better. Write this down. I'm not hard to love. I was just asking to be loved by someone incapable of it. You don't need someone to fix you. You need someone who sees you already whole. Replace obsession with discipline. Obsession is a passive loop. Discipline is an active choice. Instead of overthinking the past, work on building your future. Get physically stronger. Develop your skills. Deepen your self-worth. Not for revenge, not to make them regret, but because you owe it to the version of you that stayed soft even after being broken. Moving on isn't an event. It's not a single day where you wake up and say, I'm healed. It's a process, a million little moments of choosing yourself over and over again. And yes, it will hurt, but so did staying, so did waiting. So did loving someone who couldn't love you back the way you needed. So today, choose different. Choose the version of you who's brave enough to walk away from what's breaking them. Choose the version who refuses to stay stuck because hope kept whispering maybe. Choose the version who finally says, I'm done bleeding for someone who wouldn't even offer me a bandage. You don't move on to forget them, you move on to remember yourself, and that's where your power begins. Heartbreak leads us into a spiral of why. Why did they leave? Why wasn't I enough? Why did this happen to me? But the why rarely brings peace. It brings more pain. What will bring healing is shifting the question to, what now? What can I learn from this? What kind of love do I truly deserve next? What kind of life do I want to build from this pain? Growth doesn't come from the reason they left. It comes from the decision you make after they're gone. One of the most emotionally paralyzing places to live is in the question, why? Why did they leave? Why wasn't I enough? Why did they stop loving me? Why did I give so much and still lose them? It's like a loop you can't escape. A movie you keep rewinding, hoping the ending changes. But it never does. It just replays the pain again and again. Here's the hard truth. The why doesn't heal you. It haunts you. It feeds your obsession. It turns your breakup into a full-time investigation with no closure in sight. And even if you could get a perfect answer, would it truly satisfy you? Would it undo the silence? Would it unbreak your heart? Probably not, because heartbreak doesn't need explanation, it needs direction. That's why the shift isn't about figuring out why. It's about asking what now? What can I control today? What parts of me did I abandon to keep them? What do I never want to repeat again? What kind of life do I want to build from this pain? What does healing look like for me? Not for them, not for revenge, but for me. You see, why is a backward-facing question. It looks to the past for clarity that might never come, but what now looks forward? It activates you, it puts the power back in your hands, and maybe you'll never get all the answers. Maybe they'll never explain themselves. Maybe closure will never come from their mouth, but that's okay. Because the most powerful closure you can create is the life you live without them. A life where you stop needing their apology, where you no longer beg your memory for mercy, where your healing is no longer about understanding them, but becoming someone who refuses to live in confusion. So if your heart is screaming, I just want to know why, try asking something stronger, what now? Because the only question that really matters after heartbreak isn't, why did this happen? It's, who am I going to become because of it? We often treat love like a prize, like if someone chooses us, it means we've finally made it. But love is not a medal you earn, it's a mirror. It reflects what you believe about yourself. If you believe you're only valuable when someone needs you, if you accept breadcrumbs because you think that's what you deserve, if you chase emotionally unavailable people, hoping to feel chosen, you're not loving, you're abandoning yourself in the name of connection. Start asking, does the love I'm accepting reflect the love I give? Because when the mirror is cracked, the reflection isn't love, it's self-neglect. We live in a world where love has become a reward, a medal you earn by being good enough, attractive enough, patient enough, loyal enough, low maintenance enough. Somewhere along the line, we learned to treat love like proof of our worth. As if being chosen means we matter, and being left means we failed. But that mindset is broken, and it's breaking you, because love was never supposed to be a medal you win. It was always supposed to be a mirror, a reflection of how you see yourself, a reflection of what you tolerate, a reflection of how you let others treat you. Let me ask you something. When you were with them, did you feel safe to speak your truth? Did you feel seen, or did you feel like a background character in your own relationship? Were you constantly trying to earn their love like it was something they could take away at any moment? Because that's not love. That's survival dressed up as romance. You didn't get rejected. You outgrew what no longer reflected your worth. But here's the deeper truth. We attract what we believe we deserve. If you see yourself as someone who has to shrink to be loved, you'll chase people who need you small. If you see love as something you have to work overtime for, you'll attach to those who offer it inconsistently. If your self-image is cracked, the love you accept will reflect that distortion back to you, again and again. That's why the most important breakup isn't from them, it's from the version of you who thought love was something you had to beg for. It's walking away from the mindset that says, maybe if I change, they'll stay. It's choosing to look in the mirror and say, I don't need a medal for being lovable, I already am. Here's what real love looks like. It holds you, not tests you. It respects your boundaries, not punishes you for having them. It grows with you, not at your expense. And if that's not what you had, then what you lost wasn't love, it was a mirror, finally showing you where you were still trying to prove yourself instead of honoring yourself. So next time love shows up in your life, don't ask, will they choose me? Do they reflect the love I've already chosen to give myself? Because love isn't a finish line, it's a mirror, and the reflection gets clearer when you start seeing yourself clearly first. We think moving on means we're cold, that we've stopped caring, that we've erased everything, but you can still miss them, still love parts of them, still remember the good times, and still know that they're not your person. Grief and growth can live in the same heart. Missing someone doesn't mean you made a mistake walking away. It means you're human, and that you love deeply, but now it's time to love deeply in a new direction, toward yourself. You can miss someone and still move on. Let's be real for a moment. People will tell you that moving on means being strong, that strength looks like being unaffected, that you're supposed to burn the pictures, delete the contact, and never look back. But that's not real life, because in real life, you can miss someone and still move on. You can remember their laugh and still not want them back. You can think about the late night conversations and still know they weren't right for you. You can have moments where something reminds you of them and still not text, not call, not break. Missing someone doesn't mean you made a mistake. It means you're human. It means you loved with your whole heart. It means what you felt was real. It means there was something worth grieving. But here's what matters. You don't let the memory keep you hostage. You allow the feeling, but you don't let it direct your steps. You let the waves come, but you learn how to stand, because emotional maturity isn't about being numb. It's about feeling everything, and still choosing what's best for your peace. Too many people think, if I miss them, I must still love them. If I cry, maybe it means I'm not over it. If I still hope, then maybe they were the one. No, missing someone is a part of healing. It's just not the destination. There's a version of you, months from now, who will think about them and not feel the sting anymore. You'll remember moments, but the weight won't crush you. You'll smile, not because you want it back, but because you finally see how far you've come. You don't need to hate them to move on. You don't need to pretend it meant nothing. You don't need to erase the story to write a new one. But you do need to stop letting missing them become your excuse to stay stuck, because you're not here to endlessly mourn someone who made a choice to live without you. You're here to rise, to honor the love by letting it go when it's no longer growing you. So next time the ache returns, don't panic. Just remind yourself, yes, I miss them, and I'm still moving forward, because the strength isn't in never looking back. The strength is in looking back and choosing not to stay there.